Blinken's grand Gaza gesture, agreement or illusion? Antony Blinken, America's top diplomat, swept into the Middle East with a flourish. His mission? To broker peace, of course. Israel, Blinken declared, had agreed to withdraw from Gaza. A ceasefire seemed within reach. The world breathed a sigh of relief. Except maybe it wasn't that simple. Details, as they say, matter. And in the Middle East, those details are often shrouded in more smoke and mirrors than a magician's convention. Blinken, ever the optimist, stressed the urgency of the situation. A ceasefire was needed and fast. The U.S., he insisted, was working tirelessly to bring all parties to the table. But even as he spoke, doubts lingered. Had Israel truly agreed to a full withdrawal? And what about Hamas? The group, known for its fiery rhetoric and penchant for tunnels, remained conspicuously silent. Blinken's announcement, it seemed, was just the opening act in a much larger and far more complicated play. Bibi's backpedaling, a comedy of contradictions. Meanwhile, back in Jerusalem, Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu was busy performing his own political acrobatics. Blinken might have declared Israel's agreement to withdraw, but Bibi had other ideas. Addressing families of terror victims, Netanyahu sang a different tune. No way, he insisted, was Israel abandoning strategic areas. The Philadelphia corridor? Netzarim? Those were staying put. The international community, already bewildered, scratched its collective head. Was Bibi for the withdrawal or against it? Was this a cunning negotiation tactic or a sign of internal divisions within the Israeli government? The answer, as with most things in the Middle East, was probably a bit of both. Bibi, a master of political maneuvering, was clearly playing to multiple audiences, but his mixed messages did little to inspire confidence in the peace process.
You know, Bibi's speeches are like a buffet, a little something for everyone, but you leave feeling confused and honestly, still hungry for some real answers.
Quintuplets caught in the crossfire, urgency amidst chaos. As Blinken engaged in his diplomatic dance, tragedy struck in Gaza. Israeli airstrikes aimed at Hamas targets claimed the lives of 29 people. Among the dead were 5 innocent children, quintuplets, their lives cut tragically short. The world, horrified, condemned the killings. The incident served as a stark reminder of the human cost of the conflict. For all the talk of ceasefires and negotiations, the reality on the ground was grim. The quintuplets' deaths injected a new sense of urgency into the peace efforts, but they also highlighted the immense challenges. How could a lasting peace be achieved when innocent lives were still being lost?
Reporting live from Gaza, it's clear that every diplomatic move carries weight, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The loss of these children has sent shockwaves through the community, reminding us all of the urgent need for a resolution.
The proposed ceasefire as it stood was a fragile thing. It hinged on a delicate prisoner exchange. Hamas, it was said, would release hostages held in Gaza. In return, Israel would withdraw its forces and free Palestinian prisoners. Sounds simple, right? Except, of course, nothing is ever simple in the Middle East.
Hamas, while not rejecting the proposal outright, remained curiously non-committal. Was the group stalling for time, trying to extract further concessions? Or were they simply wary of being seen as bowing to international pressure?
Blinken, ever the patient diplomat, urged Hamas to respond positively. A swift agreement, he stressed, was in everyone's best interest. But even as he spoke, it was clear that the path to peace was paved with uncertainty. Blinken, for his part, continued his diplomatic marathon. He met with Netanyahu, with Palestinian leaders, with regional power brokers. He urged restraint, flexibility, and a commitment to dialogue. The U.S., he emphasized, was playing the role of mediator, not dictator. The goal was to facilitate a lasting peace, not to impose a solution. But even as he spoke, the limitations of American power were apparent. The Middle East, after all, has a way of defying even the best-laid plans.
And the current conflict, fueled by decades of mistrust and animosity, was proving particularly intractable.
So, where does this leave us? Is peace on the horizon, or are we destined for more bloodshed? The answer, as is often the case, is frustratingly unclear. There are glimmers of hope, to be sure. Both sides, at least rhetorically, have expressed a desire for peace.
The international community, for once, seems united in its condemnation of the violence. And Blinken, to his credit, has shown a willingness to engage directly and persistently. But the challenges remain daunting. Mistrust runs deep. Extremists on both sides are eager to sabotage any peace efforts, and the situation on the ground remains volatile.
In the end, the success or failure of the peace process will depend on the willingness of the parties themselves to compromise. The U.S., for all its power and influence, can only do so much. The rest is up to the Israelis and the Palestinians. And for now, the fate of peace hangs precariously in the balance.